This right here is the scale 118, 1995 Honda Civic by Ertl. This is a request to see an Ertl American Muscle Edition car. This being an American Muscle Edition, it being Japanese, I'm not totally sure why they use that name, but nevertheless, this is a good representation of their overall quality for the line. So let's get started here on the details. Now the first thing you noticed is the fact that this is definitely a tuned car, very similar to the Fast and Furious, the movie, the Civic in that movie. I never watched it, but it's the same one. The decals are unique throughout the car. Racing Champions isn't actually a real company, it's just Ertl putting their personal touch on it. And you can see around here that is painted on, no stickers to be seen, just well done decals. Ibach springs, same thing with the Honda logo in the front, no stickers to be seen here, and that's good. On the inside, kind of a unique coloring throughout the car. It has the yellow contrasting with the black seats, the point-blank seat belts, as well as a red shift knob, which is kind of unusual. Oh, and I actually just noticed it has red pedals underneath. But that's where the impressiveness ends, if that's even a real word. Forgive me if it isn't. All the buttons are there throughout the interior, but they're definitely not colored in. And as a result, it just doesn't have a realistic touch on the inside. Plus the seats are shiny, and no seat that I know of at least is shiny. It's kind of unrealistic. Obviously there's no carpeting. This car costs around, $25. It is pretty rare. It's pretty tough to find, but every once in a while you'll end up getting an American muscle car. And again, I don't know why they call this American muscle. This is Japanese. So underneath, we can see a pretty well done engine. Compared to the interior, it's significantly better. It has the intake down here, as well as as well as an air intake. Pretty impressive. This is a Honda VTEC engine. I don't believe this is the stock one that came with the Honda. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Also, pretty nice chrome rims. Really look nice with the car. Typical of these racer cars, you get the big coffee can exhaust. Looks like it's a catback system, just based on what I see here. Too Fast, Illinois, that did come with the car. And in the trunk we have 2 nitrous oxide tanks to give the engine a little bit more of a boost. Now everything does open, as I've already shown. There really isn't anything else. Wheels do turn and has no suspension. There are rear seats, just as a final note. Now I'm going to get on to some of the flaws of this car, and yes, there are many and they can be pretty distracting. Now I did point out that the interior wasn't very well made. Also, if I were to bring out, well, let's pull out this Fiat 500. It's not exactly to scale. I mean, for all I know, as Burago commonly does, their cars are not exactly to scale, so this isn't a perfect example. It was within reach. But you can see, we realize how small the Fiat 500 is, and you look at it compared to the Honda Civic, and you realize that this is actually skinnier than this car. So it's not to scale at all. Much smaller than it should be. It's just far too thin. Also, this back spoiler, I can't really touch it because it did break off at one point and had to be glued. It's extremely loose, so you have to be very, very careful with that. The mirrors are pretty strong. And as far as another interior issue, This is the mirror, which has yet to be glued back because it for some reason falls off a lot, and it's extremely difficult to get back on if it does fall off. So that is another issue. And finishing off, we have pretty poor taillights, no depth whatsoever, and you have this big huge peg right in the middle. Headlights, same deal, no peg, but it just is not flush around the metalwork. Not very impressive. Overall, the Ertl American Muscle series, it's just lacking the quality that I look for in a budget car. There's much better options, but then again, they are one of the only people that offer these tuned cars. So if you're into the style and the kind of, the racer cars, Fast and Furious movie, it is a pretty good option. There aren't many, it really isn't anything else out there unless you customize it yourself. But even with that, it's pretty tough to find a Civic. So I hope this helps, and thanks for watching.